Kirk, you just finished up chugging a Mountain Dew on me right before we hit record. So the audience didn't have to listen to it, but it was a powerful image.
No, I did not do that. I do not drink that crap.
You earned it via big workout. I want to hear what the workout was.
Oh, I just took my handcuffs off and I did a 3-2 float
Oh,
session for the
okay.
first time in a while.
Before you say a word about it, I want to set the stage for the audience based on what you and I have talked about off camera about this specific workout.
Sure.
In the past, you have said that this is one that is hard to access the first time you do it because it gets so stingy and bad. And it's almost like this workout gets you into race shape, but unless you're in race shape, you don't do well on it your first one usually. I
Yeah,
could be
you'll bomb it. Eventually,
I'm
you will not.
paraphrasing, but
Yeah, you won't be able to keep your float efforts honest. Is what's going to happen.
correct.
Yeah.
That you get better at this workout just by doing it. You also say that this one gets you feeling really sharp and that you improve at it quickly, but it's hard to sustain. But you haven't done this workout coming off of a block of training like this. And this block of training was, as you would say, handcuffs on, not going to the well in workouts, not reaching for speed, really not going past 10K pace. So I want to hear now, having set all that up, what this block of training made this first hard workout feel like, a workout that you've done many times in the past off other lead-ins?
It's a great question. I was trying to figure that out myself. I think even with short, true rest, like 30 seconds on a 400 meters, um, there's that little bit of reprieve that
Mhm.
you look forward to. And in a float session, the true reprieve is never there. You never feel like you can go, for
Mhm.
even just a second. So this was 10 rounds. So 50 minutes of 3 minutes pressing, 3 minutes backing off. But backing off is not relaxing at all. It's just not pressing. And so I think I had to fight for the floats a little more the back half than I previously have, but that's okay because I kind of expected it. Plus, it
Mhm.
was very hot and muggy. And so I don't know if I've done this session in these conditions. Um, I had to make a conscious effort not to back off, which is the point of the float style. Maybe just a little more so, but I see this coming around very quickly. It was accessible to me. I didn't bomb. I got better as I went still. I didn't fade.
Okay.
But the active recovery, which isn't really recovery, is just something you have to
Yeah.
feel your way through. Trust. What would you expect?
First one always punches you in the face a little bit. I think that I respond well to the type of block you just did. So I would, in a workout like this, feel I'm not ready to race, but I'm closer than I thought I was, because the block you just did doesn't make you feel like you're preparing for a race. So that's how I would feel. But I'm curious how you felt about this block now, having tasted the first workout of the next block.
Hmm. I think I could be ready to race in 2 weeks after doing this session. I think I would just need to double down on something stingy and a little bit more drawn out next week and maybe just back off volume. There's a slight chance there's a half the first weekend in September here that I'm entertaining.
Hmm.
And so that's sort of the reason for it. But I think I could race. I think I could race half on the training we did. I think if I wanted to race stingier stuff, 5K, maybe even a
Mhm.
10K, 5K for sure. I think that would have that would have caught up with me pretty quick, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah. But I think this style could get you ready for half marathon type duration. Well.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
No, I
Was
wasn't
there
trying to lead you with that question. I was just wondering what you felt this time.
Yeah, session feels very easy and approachable at first. The first couple floats feel like, okay. I was going about 50 seconds difference, 520 to 525, and then floating between 610 and 615. And in the beginning, it felt very manageable. Like I didn't need my float recovery. I could have just kept going at 525 pace, kept going, kept going. But then the back half, your heart rate just stops coming down during the floats. And then pretty
Yeah.
soon you're just living in threshold. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Well, this is
Needle mover.
it's good. Got to have a needle mover, but it's an interesting segue because there's not one at all. Because today's episode is the most overrated parts of being a good runner.
Yeah.
And we believe that the thing you just did and the thing you're currently doing are not overrated parts, but that's good. You're practicing what you preach. But today's episode is all the things that we feel people spend too much time worrying about, the things that are overrated aspects of being a good runner.
Can we just keep it as broad as overrated aspects to being a runner?
Yeah.
Does it have to be a good runner?
Well, I feel like the difference between going out for a run and going out for runs for a purpose of performance. Because almost nothing's overrated if you're doing it for pure happiness. But if
It's a
there's a
good point.
performing component, I feel like that's when people start really promoting certain things because it has a benefit. So you can talk about it from that perspective, but I'm going to stick to things that people claim to have a real purpose for doing from a performance standpoint.
Okay, well, yeah, we can just look at it through the performance lens. That's fine.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter if you're a 40-minute 5K or a
No,
15-minute 5K. Just if you actually care about your metrics and want to improve, what's overrated?
faster is faster, regardless of where you start.
I like this idea. So we'll do what, an overrated today and then next week an underrated, or later this week?
Correct. Yes.
All right. Your idea. Kick it off.
All right. I'm going to start at the end. I think the most overrated part of running, not the most, but a most overrated part of running is a running based cooldown.
Continue.
I think that people have asked throughout the years our feelings on junk mileage. And I can pretty firmly say that I don't think junk mileage really exists in the form most people think it does. Like there's some running that's just not useful to you. I don't believe that, except running during your cooldown for the sake of getting mileage. I think that can be junk mileage in its purest form that only serves to fatigue you and does not necessarily make you any better. Now, it's not all cooldowns, but I think that the running cooldown has the least juice to squeeze ratio of all running types out there.
What's led you to this belief system?
Experience.
I waffle over agreeing with you and not.
Yes. Well, this isn't binary that they are bad or they are good. It's a type of it is bad and useless.
So what would be your proposed alternative? Like no cooldown is necessary, basically? Like get the work done and you could cut it there? Like,
I think that you need to do something to bridge the gap between your final step of the prescribed work and being at stasis and homeostasis for the rest of the day. I think a cool down is mandatory. I think running as your cool down is the least important part of any running you'll ever do as a runner.
yeah, I agree with that statement in its like simplest sense.
Yes. And in fact, I think that many runners give away their next session or two, the effectiveness of it, by searching for too much running in the cool down, and it turns into a finisher rather than a true cool down. I think too many people are working and running sloppily under fatigue during a cool down rather than just saying, what do I need to do to get my body so that I'm not stiff and sore and tired all day and tomorrow? They are trying to squeeze more mileage in, and that is defeating the purpose.
Well, and that was my actual counter to why it wouldn't typically be a cooldown. It almost sometimes ends up being a finisher,
Right.
in the sense where after a big session, I was looking just today in my cooldown, which I went only about 1.5 miles, and I was 1.5 miles from home. So I was like, I'm getting back. And because of the effort, and I didn't want to run slow home, I kind of wanted to get back. I had stuff I wanted to do. I basically ran in threshold for my cooldown on the way home because my cardiac drift was so high. So I'm running around 160 BPM when I normally would have been under 140. Honestly, for that pace, I was revved. And so you could chalk that up as like really unnecessary, harmful gray zone work, or you could chalk it up as like, hey, you just spent another 10 minutes in threshold in your cooldown. Where does that become good and where does that become bad or counterproductive? Because I certainly was like, whoa, that's extra work I just got in. That wasn't a cooldown by any facet of the imagination.
Correct. And yet people will finish that and say cooldown complete and hit the showers and move on with the day, which
that's what I did. That's
right.
exactly what I did. I got home, I had to get rolling into the shower and move on with my day.
Exactly. And if you do that after every single session, I don't believe that's best practice. And I don't think you would ever agree to do that after every session on purpose.
Yeah, but you could also word isn't cool down then. It's just not,
Correct.
right? But then it's like, well, look, take advantage of cardiac drift and layer in another 10 minutes of
Yeah.
work. But that's not a cool down.
I and my counter to or my agreement with what you're saying is I would rather say if I have 10 more minutes of work in me, I'd rather put it into a purposeful rep and
Mm.
cool down some other way. I think too many people they prescribe their workout perfectly. This is going to be an 8 out of 10 effort. They nail it, and I'm going to go for a 3 to 4 mile cool down to add on some extra volume.
Mm.
And
Done
now
it.
the workout's a 9 recovery cost instead of an 8. But those extra 4 miles of running didn't give them a whole with that extra point of recovery it's costing. It hasn't given them the commensurate fitness improvement that more work during the workout would have done. Another 2K of work versus another 40 minutes or easy cool down is not the same in terms of fitness development. So I think that most people, not most, many people glorify and over glorify. I went for a 40-minute cool down. Like there's not an activity on earth that requires 40 minutes to cool down from.
I
If you're
don't think
trying to
we
get
need
back
to
to
do it.
homeostasis, you don't have to run a step to do that.
I
You could
agree with
train
that.
someone to be an Olympic champion and they could never, ever run a single step after their final step of their last rep, ever in their career.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So that's my stance.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. It's just cool downs most of the time aren't cool downs. I think
Correct.
that's truly what it ends up being. And for me, I'm a classic example. I think I can handle it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Um, but I could not agree more. Most people, if they put in true good work and it's the middle of the summer, like to keep the effort where it probably needs to be, you probably need to walk home.
Yeah. I'm not calling out anyone in specific that I'm working with currently,
You can call
but
me out.
because I don't think I'm facing this with anyone. But in the past, I've had people who were 3 or 4 a week runners. They would need essentially a day in between all of them. And they would do a workout and then they'd say, all right, I got a 20-minute cool down in, and then I couldn't run the next day. It was like, I need a break from that. Like, well, what if you took that 20-minute cool down away and ran the next day?
And ran
Or
30
you
minutes the next day.
or you poured that extra 20 minutes of effort you had there into 2 more reps in the workout and took the next day off anyway. Just felt like we're not being efficient with our energy and our recovery systems here by adding a couple extra miles to our week.
So what would be, and without going too far down the rabbit hole, I guess, what would be the proposal to somebody who is out doing a session? Rarely do we stop and end perfectly at our home or our car where
Right.
it's parked. And so you get it done and you've worked hard and now the cardiac drift is real and you still need to get back because that happens all the time, right? Like, what's your advice in that situation then?
I mean, life happens. Sometimes you have to run back to the house. I just wouldn't make a habit of it. I would learn from that. And honestly, I do a lot of the workouts I do in a way that I end where I need to end. Like the last rep might be an out and back rep because it's not going to line up perfectly. So now it becomes a segmented rep or you change your route. I think there's ways around most of it. I think that life always happens, but you just don't want to make a habit of it. And I think the situation you're describing is an outlier. Like it happened to you today.
By design, though, like I like my
Right.
loop, I hit my loop, I have to get home.
I'm thinking more of the people who are like, this is a 8 to 10 rep set of thousands. And if I do 10, I'm not going to get a 40-minute cool down in. So I'm going to get 8 and then I'm going to recover and then I'm going to go for my 40-minute run. Like that 40-minute run is not the workout. And there are people that do that. It may not be everyone, but there are people who are thinking about, I'm going to have to cut my extended add-on short if I do more work in this session. Well,
Mm.
at no point does that extended add-on supersede the main set. The add-on is a bonus if you can handle the work. So to have to neuter the main set in order to fit on the glorified cooldown, because the boys head out for 40 minutes after the track session, like, forget that. Join them for
Mm.
the last 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I just think people confound stimulus on certain days.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if there's one thing that can go, it's the cooldown. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna argue with you at all on that. I don't think it really serves. Somebody can chime in. I don't know what the physiological benefit really probably is. Like I have had to skip cooldowns due to time constraints. I feel the exact same the next day as if I'd done the cooldown or not. To be honest, I don't think it really flushes much. I don't think it like other than to get mileage in, which is why I do it. Like
Right.
if I want to hit 55 miles a week in 5 runs, I got to tack on 2 miles at the end of my quality day, because that's what it requires for me to hit my predetermined metric for the week. That's literally it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And if that's the purpose it's serving and it's sustainable and you feel like you're also getting quality work in, then congratulations, you're doing it. But if your quality workouts could be better, if your cooldown wasn't detracting from it, or the next day you could run longer, if your cooldown the day before hadn't tipped you over, then I think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, cooldown should not tip you over.
But I've tipped in a cooldown. Hot days in the summer.
Yeah, I get you.
A workout like you, I was a mile and a half from home one day, and I'd done a big session, and I sent it on the last rep. And I cooled down. I walked like a half mile to get it back together. My heart rate finally dropped. I started jogging, and my heart rate went right back up to 150 within like 200 meters. And I was like, I'm in trouble. But I had to get home. Now, if I were at the track and that happened on lap 1 and I still did another mile and a half of running because that's how I cool down, well, that was avoidable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to pay attention to how you rebound from sessions too then. But okay. Well, do we want to dwell? Should we move on for the sake of moving on?
Yeah. That was a long ranty sort of thing by me, but it's something I very much feel is that you can cool down perfectly without taking a step of running.
I also think a lot of people, I don't care what anybody says, like people who are running 120-mile weeks, like you can call them junk miles or you can call them just time on feet. I don't care what you call them. That's happening. People are adding layers of mileage, the high mileage athletes all over the place, in ominous gray zone, lack of purpose mileage. Cooldown's one of those places.
Sebastian Coe is one of those runners who's famous for no one knowing what he really ran. People are saying he's a 50 to 70 mile per week runner, but that he didn't count any warm up or cool down in his weekly volume.
Right.
So we don't even know. And his point was, I can't tell you how beneficial these are. Here's the work I'm doing each week. The rest is it supplements the work, not detracts from the work.
I agree with that about the cool down. If you're cutting like reps short because you still got 2 miles to get home, or you're going way easier than you should because you know that you got 15 minutes of running when it's all done, absolutely non-starter. Like that is not okay. Step 1. If that's part of your thought process, then we got to rejig that. I agree. Then cut the cool down, get lost, cool down. All right. Can I say one?
Yeah. It's you now. That was a lot of me.
No, it wasn't. I agree with you, even though I'm doing exactly what you're talking about not doing.
No, you're not selling your workout for the cool down.
Well, no, I'm not.
You're not selling your next day for your recovery after a workout.
Not at all. I think one of the most overrated things to being a faster runner is short intervals with lots of rest. I think long rest equals overrated. Full stop.
Okay, I have
any
a question.
session.
Because I agree with you, but I have a question that I think is very important.
Yeah.
Down to what race distance? At what race distance does this no longer apply, that statement you just made?
Well, I'm waffling between 800 and a mile, to be honest. So I'm in those waters.
Okay.
A mile, maybe at longest.
Yeah.
Is where I would say, what do you have an initial reaction to that?
Mine was going to be between the 800 and the 400.
Oh, okay. So even a deviation shorter.
I think best practice for the mile does include some of those reps in there for sure. But I think you can get away without it if you get everything else perfect. So anyway, but between 1 minute and 4 minutes of racing, somewhere in there is the turning point between you really don't have to do any work with long recovery if you don't want to you really should be. And most people listening to this are very, 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 very unlikely to race shorter than 4 minutes ever.
I don't know if we got one listener, maybe. Yeah. So let me explain. So, efficiency work matters, right? Like we do want to run fast and efficient, powerful stride, recruiting max muscle groups at times. those can easily be add-ons as to strides or things like that. Not a main session, not something that you believe is going to make you better on race day as a bulk or pillar to your week. The systems we use in short, fast intervals, let's say 400-meter repeats with 3 minutes rest. Like you're sending it. You're sending it 95% effort, 3 minutes rest. 90, and you do 4 to 8 of those. Let's just say that's a big session for that type of work. You're in such a different energy system in that workout than you are ever going to use in a race that you're not really greasing the right groove. That workout may set you up better to run a fast 800, maybe a mile. But when it starts coming down to the 15, 20, 30 hour long races, you're sort of like bringing a monster truck to like an endurance race car event.
Yep.
And it's just not serving the purpose for when you toe the race line. It's almost wasted effort, in my opinion. I've done so many of these sessions over the years, and the shorter I keep my rest and the longer I keep my reps, the better my racing goes. And I'm an aging athlete where it should almost be the opposite of that at some point. I need spice and more rest to keep my turnover. I am telling you, feel good workouts, and you'll feel real good about yourself after ripping 400s with lots of rest. You'll think you're ready to crush the 5K. Then you go out and you get 10 minutes in and you're underwater and you just die. You're not even in the same system that you've been training with your 400s with a lot of rest.
Right.
So I'll stop myself, but you get the gist.
Yeah, almost everything you could need to accomplish from a form perspective or a top end speed perspective, you could handle with a buy-in or buy-out on a workout.
Or that. That's a great. Wish I would have said that. Could have do it there. Yes.
But you don't need a full set. You don't need a full workout, a full day dedicated to that.
Why don't you give an example of that? Actually, I'm glad you said that. Give an example of what you mean by that.
Well, like for example, in college, we used to run one workout where we would run 16 to 20 by 200 with 200-meter walk jog recovery. So we'd run our reps in 27 to 29 seconds, and we would dawdle 1.5 to 2 minutes recovery. Sometimes 2.5 if we were really milking it. And coach let us because he understood what we were trying to do there.
You're an 800-meter runner.
We were taking 4 times the rest of the work, and that was appropriate.
If you were to do mile repeats, let's say it takes you 7 minutes to do a mile repeat.
Yeah.
Okay. And you took 3 times the rest on that session. So you would work for 7 minutes and then rest for 21. Yeah. That's what you were doing. Yeah. Where would that have its place?
Yeah.
In true endurance athletics.
Right. And moving it up one notch to 400s with 3 to 4 minutes rest. That was something we do sometimes as 800 milers. But for the average human being, that doesn't help you with your weakness, which is sustained endurance. So no, but you can get by with finishing a workout with 4 to 6 by 200 with 200-meter walk jog recovery. 4 of them. 100%. 4 by 200 with 200-meter walk jog recovery will get you all that efficiency and high-end speed work you need without having to dedicate recovery to it. So
and why do we like
sprinkle it?
And why do we like them at the end? I'll tell you why. I'm speaking for both of us, but because then you're also forcing yourself to run hard, fast, efficient power output while you're already fatigued, which then serves more of a purpose on race day versus even like a buy-in. I'm cool with a buy-in at times, but like they're really not even in the same camp because the cash out is done under duress and the buy-in is not. And so I would prefer it in the endurance space to be a cash out.
Yeah. Now, if we wanted explosion, I would do that fresh. But true explosion in a sprint stride setup is not really needed for most people. You can do it, sure, but I would do it fresher. A slightly fatigued so that you're loose and warm enough to not tear something. But I would never do like fly 40s or 50-meter dashes after a 40-minute tempo. But I would absolutely do some 200s afterwards.
If you had to create, let's say your focus is the 5K and all you care about is getting faster at the 5K. That is your main jam. Create like the most fringe workout you could where you could still justify it as like, I think this will actually make me better at the 5K. Like, but the workout that would include like the most rest in there somewhere. Do you have anything that comes to mind? Do you know what I'm asking? That's not a very well put question. My mind goes like cluster sets of stuff, maybe with big rests intermittently.
8-8-4 hard rest.
Something like that. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, that, or I might do some sessions where I'm running regular work, take a 5 to 10 minute rest, and then time trial like a 4 to 800 meters
Cool.
as like a club. But even that, like I'm having to rack my brain to come up with something like that. I don't think it's really maybe a mile workout once or twice in sharpening for a 5K, but there's still way more specific things you could do. It would
You
be
mean
that
like mile repeats with like decently large rest, like
I was
3
thinking
minute
more
rest?
like a mile pace workout, like
Oh,
400s with bigger rest, but you wouldn't need something like that.
yeah.
If you were a high level athlete training for a championship 5K and you need to be able to close in mid to low 50 seconds for the last 400, you're going to need some sprint work. Yeah. But we're not talking to that crowd here.
You never know. Nico Young or Grant Fisher could be listening.
Now, Nico Young had to do some speed work in
Yes, he
college.
did.
Yes.
Yes, he did. And he's figured, gosh, has he figured it out? But it probably still starts with his engine just being more bulletproof, I would
Half
imagine.
of having a good kick is getting to the end less tired or less compromised.
Yeah.
That's half of having a good kick. The other half is having some speed to use.
Yeah. All right, we can leave it alone, I guess. That's the first thing that came to mind for me.
Well, I've said it many, many times, but I think that people always fixate, not always, often fixate on the wrong thing of getting faster. Like you can run plenty fast. You can't sustain it. So spending more time running really fast isn't helpful for most people. You got to be able to sustain it better.
Preach. I agree.
Some
Good.
people suck at running fast. Most of them can run just fine. They can run whatever race pace they could ever want for a bit. They just can't sustain a portion of that.
I'm trying to think how long I could run like college 800-meter pace for right now. It'd probably be pretty sad.
It's that type of top end goes.
That needs to be worked with regularity.
It's 800-meter pace to me is the piece that shows me what aging is like. Mile pace, you can still go out and grind a mile pace at the end of a workout. But when I go to run some fast 200s, standalone or end of a workout, I know what it felt like and what the time said. And so I will go out and think, oh, that was like a 29 or a 30. And the first rep I look down was like a 33. I'm like, that's aging.
Same.
That is aging right there. And if I want to break 30 seconds in a 200, I have to run a level of exertion that would have got given a 26 back in the day. Like you just lose some of that twitch.
I feel similarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to really fight for a 29 now. 28 for sure is
and
like,
it won't be rep 1 or 2.
No, it'll take me a couple, 100%. Yeah. All right. What's your next overrated?
I think one of the most overrated aspects to racing well is following your routine. I believe that routine is the quickest way to calm your anxiety and your nerves and to make yourself feel like you are ready to do well. But I think it's breaking your routine is the quickest way to ruin someone's race, and it doesn't need to. I think that people are beholden to their routine sometimes, and I will get a after action report from someone that says, oh, man, my diet was off before this race and I could feel it out there. And I just want to tell them, no, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. And if you could, that was entirely you living in the matrix. You took that input in and said, this is what it feels like, but it doesn't. It absolutely does not. You will not perform any worse if your head was not attached to your shoulders. Your body would not perform any worse if you didn't have your normal pre-race meal or sleep or whatever you want to do. Switching from rice to pasta did not change your race. If it turned your gut on you in a long race, yeah, it did. But again, inflexibility on routine is a coping strategy. It's not a success strategy.
You speak from personal experience back in the day compared
For sure.
to how you kind of got yourself out of that.
I was a massive head case as a high school runner. And I was a partial head case as a college runner. And I was an improving head case as a first couple of years trying to be a, in quotes, professional athlete. And it got to the point where I could do anything I darn well pleased. And my body was going to do what was asked of it. And it made me think back to all those days where I was doing poorly because something was off in my routine, thinking I was just hamstringing myself.
Yeah, it's a heady pursuit. We have like emotional attachment to something that went well in the past or something that went poor. It's hard to not make note and assume it's going to be repeatable because I had my honey granola bar beforehand, but today I didn't, and now I'm missing my secret thing.
Yep.
Or I had to take a late flight and I only got 6 hours of sleep instead of the 9 that my body, I know it needs. And you literally shoot yourself in the foot before the gun even goes off. And people do it. I still dip my toes into that water. Like I like to eat fairly similarly the day before a race. I think we all have our routines, but when it goes awry, not allowing it to, like, when the gun goes off, all that disappears, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah. Yeah. If we allow it to disappear. Macaulay and I, in our OCR days, used to cultivate this list of fast food or gas station options that we would be willing to race off of for
Well, I
worst case
know you
scenario.
will do grocery store sushi because you did that with me. And I thought, bold move, Brakken.
Yeah.
Bold move.
Yeah. We would sample from time to time in workouts, suboptimal options that you can find in any small town in North America, or at least in the United States and most of Canada. Like, which gas stations have sandwiches that I can trust to be sustainable for my gut food in order to take care of this if my flight gets in late and everything is closed and all I can do is eat out of a gas station? Or which fast food options could I eat in the morning on the way to a race if whatever happened? And we had this list of things we could work through, and we knew that this breakfast was not going to work, but this one is probably acceptable. We just have to eat it a little earlier to make sure we get it to go through our system first. And that was something that came like 2 or 3 times to fruition and bailed us out. But something that I never in my wildest dreams as an 18-year-old would have imagined even tempting fate with that. But if it's a possibility to occur at some point, you should just practice it rather than say, I will never let this happen, because fate laughs at our plans.
Purposefully self-sabotage yourself, folks, the day before a workout, and then see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep. No sleep, go on a bender, nothing but cookies, donuts, and ice cream, and then see what happens. If you can survive that workout the next day, you can survive McDonald's because you're in a pinch the day before a race.
Well, what would you do if you were in a place, Kirk, you had a marathon or a trail
No, it's
20K?
actually
Where would
funny.
you eat? And you could only have fast food. Where are you going? What are you getting?
No, it's funny. Well, so I know safe is Subway.
Yep.
Or any potato and protein option. I don't care if it's a French fry or a baked potato or anything. I can do. Those are all safe bets. It literally doesn't matter what form. But what's funny about this association is I had a 20-mile long run with my college teammate Dave when I went out to Monterey this spring. And I was getting in at 10:30 at night. We landed and I had to meet him the next day at like 7 a.m. So quick turnaround, right? Like I got 5 hours of sleep at best. We were going to do a big 20-miler with a tempo in the middle. I wanted to be ready for that.
Yep.
But we got done to the airport. We were late. I'm like, I'm going to get no sleep. I was like, I'm swinging in McDonald's because I haven't eaten and whatever. So it was like 2 triple cheeseburgers and I was hungry, and a large fry. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. Went right to the Airbnb, went to bed. Not normal for me to do that, right? Not normal at all.
Yeah.
I felt fantastic the next day on my workout with Dave, right? I was like, I got no sleep. I went across country. I ate like crap at 11 o'clock tonight, went to bed, dehydrated, and I had a great session. 2 weeks later, I'm like, you know what? I had a really good workout when I had McDonald's and this, and I had a big long run, my next like long run planned. And so I said, Jess, I'm going to go McDonald's and get dinner tonight. I just feel like it worked for me that last time. And so I went and got the same thing, thinking the opposite, like it was going to work for me. I had one of the worst runs of my life that next day. And that just goes to show it can work the opposite way too.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, that's the magic formula. Late night flight, no sleep, couple of McDonald's cheeseburgers. No, on all the sleep in a normal training week at my house, McDonald's bit me in the ass. I think I even pulled the plug early on the session. So no consistency there.
Well, the big takeaway is there's no such thing as a magic bullet. Like
100%.
we take comfort in routine, but there's no guarantee that that routine was even the thing that brought on the success in the first place.
I thought
And
I
I
found with
also
Brakken. I thought I found it.
it would have been great. But also oftentimes I believe our body responds to food differently based on the situation that it's in.
Yeah.
Like I will feel bad after eating a lot of different fast food. But if I've been on my feet all day long or traveling and I need something and I'm starving, my body handles it pretty darn well.
What's your best? You asked me what would be like, what's in your circle of
Like
options?
specifically, I know that McDonald's snack wraps will not cause any negative issue with me. I know that Taco Bell Crunch Wrap Supremes will not cause any issue with me. I know that McDonald's breakfast, if it's the McMuffin, will be just fine. But I'm not going into anything else there. Like I have very specific items from different areas. I know that BP gas stations have some of the best subs in North America in terms of just reliability. If you can get to a Quick Trip, everything's good, but I do not eat anything beef or egg out of a Quick Trip just because it doesn't always work well with me. Like it's very specific. It's not just if I can find this place I'm set. It's I need this item from this place, and then I know I'm good.
So you're telling people to fringe eat a little bit, experiment.
I think the thing that worries you is the thing you need to become well acquainted with.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying trash your diet. I'm saying if you're afraid of your diet failing you before something big, you need to do that in a vacuum first in a safe place.
Okay. I like
Also,
where you
muffins in some sort of packaging from almost any source on earth will work for me as a breakfast before races.
it's a good dense fat, sugar, carb. It's
Yeah,
got it all.
probably terrible for me, but it's going to burn just fine.
Yeah. All
Snickers
right, I like
bar,
where you took that.
trail mix, all of it works.
Trail mix, bad idea. Too much fiber, peanuts. Can be careful there.
I can see that, yeah.
All right, next one. I don't know if I just want you to give me your knee-jerk reaction to this next one. Like just say it initially.
Okay.
I think one of the most overrated things to being a fast runner is light shoes.
I agree.
You do.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
worrying about ounces when they're slow AF already. People I don't feel like I need a light shoe. I feel like a light shoe like a Vaporfly that might be 5 and change nowadays. I'd be much better with a 9-ounce shoe that served my stride for duration. Like the light shoe might be worth the squeeze for under 15-minute races, maybe. And none of us are doing that. I don't think there's many listening to the podcast who are running 5Ks under 15 minutes. So light shoes, I feel like are more harmful than helpful. I think that's what I really mean.
Yeah, I think so. And I would just equate it to support. The shoe that has one notch too little of support for you is going to set you up for failure potentially. I think that if you are only feeling fast away from doing well or not, you're not prepared for the race. That's been my experience throughout time is when I start fixating on a shoe or an option or cutting weight on something like a hydration pack versus a waist pack or this pack versus this bottle, it means I have a hole in my fitness. When I'm nasty, I'm like, hey, it'd be kind of be fun to try this shoe for this race. See if I could still like this might be fun to run in rather than I need this shoe or I'm not going to be able to access my fitness. I think it's a clear indicator of where your confidence lies if you're fixated on the weight of a shoe or the certain benefit of it. I think that we should never stop looking for advantages. But if you need that, that tells you what you need to know.
Did I tell you that I found my new favorite recovery run shoe, by the way?
No.
I did, and I'm in love with it. And it's not a recovery run shoe, but it works for me.
Okay.
It's in the Nike family. What do you think it is? You won't get it's not I'm setting you up for failure here.
Tell me.
The Nike Zoom Fly.
The Zoom Fly.
Which is like the
Macaulay
generic
loves that shoe.
The generic Alpha Fly. It's got
Yeah.
more weight to it. It's not quite the technology, but it does have a plate. It's heavier. It barely costs more than my Hoka Cliftons, which I've just been out of love with that shoe for a long time until I finally had to break up with it. My first stab at a new recovery run shoe, yes, it has a plate, but it's got a ton of foam and it's got a ton of just save your legs. It is the best bang for your. I think I could race in that shoe as well, and it serves me on the recovery front. Run front. I think the Nike Zoom Fly is one of the best do-it-all shoe on the roads that you could possibly wear, and it's reasonably priced compared to all the other options. So, anyways, I'm in love with that shoe.
I think it was the first of the new wave of tempo shoes.
It's a great shoe. That's
Yeah.
all.
Macaulay always liked it. He said it helped him like to a point, and if he tried to run actually fast in it, it felt dead. But it made slower paces actually easier for him.
Yeah, I haven't tried to run hard in it, but I just know it's doing all the right things. So if anybody's looking for a new recovery run shoe, I think and you could maybe rip in it.
I would say it's the most polarizing of any of the plated shoes on the road. It's love it or hate it. People either say it's the worst shoe they've run in, or it's their like favorite guilty pleasure shoe.
It is not more polarizing than the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro.
I taking racing stuff out of it. Those like tweener, those like could be recovery, could be racing, the tweener shoes. Yeah, Mizuno Rebellion Pro is certainly the most polarizing. But for years, people have loved or hated the Zoom Fly. And I would say the next percent tempo that was also in there for a while. And it doesn't always track version to version. Some versions work for them, some don't.
Well, the Zoom Fly 6.
Zoom Fly 6.
But really, my point about lighter isn't better. Really, something that you say that stuck with me and it resonates with me. And it's something I've thought, but never just put words to it. It's so simply as you saying, not the shoe that you feel your best with your first strides in. You need to pick the shoe that you feel the best in your later strides in whatever you're doing, in your race or your long efforts. And that can be completely different shoes. I mean, I would feel best in the Nike Zoom Dragonfly on the track, ripping 200s. Is that going to serve me in a marathon? Like, are you kidding me? No. And that's an exaggerated example of how this goes amongst shoes down the line. And so what will you feel best as you get fatigued, not when you're poppy and it doesn't matter what's under your foot? And so more is more in my opinion. And I believe that across the board.
Yeah. Now, if all things are equal, lighter's better. But things are almost never equal. And that's going to bring me to my next thing, which is racing weight. I think that obsessing over single digit pounds is a fool's errand. You have 20 pounds to lose. Yeah, you're going to be faster. You have 40 pounds to lose. You're going to be faster and you're going to be able to train more because it's going to be easier on your body. If you're sitting at 180 and you think 178 or 175 is going to be a little better for you, you're approaching dangerous territory. When people start thinking about single digit pounds, there are so many other things you should be worrying on. 50 pounds, when you're 50 pounds overweight, that is not a slippery slope. That is black and white. You know you're going to be healthier overall because you have 50 pounds extra on your body. When you're studying your body thinking, could I carve 8 more pounds off? Could I carve 2 more pounds off? That is danger territory because we are not machines where shaving 6 ounces off stops the moment it's been shaved. And then it just goes about doing its job and it either breaks or it doesn't. We are not that way. We are not to be trusted ever as human beings. So I think obsessing over weight as a runner is probably the least important factor of getting fast. Now, sometimes getting faster goes along with a weight loss along the way, but it has to be a part of the journey, not the reason for the journey.
Yeah, I agree with that last sentence very much so. I waffle over this. It's part of my internal rhetoric. I do not put any real emotional stock into what I weigh or trying to trim up with any sort of real conscious effort. It's more like if it's a byproduct of training, but I've had some swings, 5 pounds, maybe very infrequently, but like, I feel like there's something like I can feel a difference eventually. I do feel like, but at what cost if you are going to focus on something like that and you're already pretty close to where you would ever need to be from a composition standpoint, becomes a very slippery slope, especially if you're trying to eat in a deficit to do so. Most people's training goes terribly and their racing follows that. You can be lighter and be racing the worst in your life because you're just chronically behind on your fueling, and that's for dang sure. So I would say if you had to choose to like consciously trim up that extra 3 pounds or just stay where you're at and fuel and train and fuel and train? Like the answer is fuel and train,
Yeah.
which is what I've decided to do, right? Instead of trying to consciously cut.
Yeah. Well, and I'd be a liar and a fool if I said weight doesn't matter. It
You would be.
does, but it's part of the equation. Like one of the equations is mass times acceleration. Like that in a machine, in a vacuum, there is no way around that. But we are not a machine and we are not in a vacuum. So if you could take the weight loss with none of the negatives, for sure, shave off every single ounce on your body. But that's just not the way it works. And we never know when it's an ounce too far, when we're going to get hurt 6 weeks from now because of this. Yeah, we're faster right now, but what happens in 6 weeks or 6 months? We can't predict that. And so I always err on the side of staying on the cautious side of the line. And then the other piece is that while working on the acceleration piece yourself, you often lose a little bit of mass. But if you just focus on the mass, you're not necessarily doing it in a sustainable way. So, of course, lighter is faster in a vacuum, but humans don't live in a vacuum. So I'm already hearing some comments like, oh, how can you say that? It's not even responsible for someone to say that heavier runners can be faster than lighter. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the issues that come along with focusing on weight over the other ways to get fast. And weight usually comes along with if you focus on all the other ways to get fast.
Yeah, it reminds me of part of our conversation with our Spartan eulogy last week about like the byproduct of training for Spartan was physical changes.
Right.
And the byproduct of training with purpose and intent, barring that your diet isn't a complete disaster, generally means the body will morph itself into the part it needs to be to help you run your best, right? As a side aftermath of the training, not as I'm going to change my body and then the running metrics are going to follow.
Right.
It almost happens the opposite way, right?
Yeah. And really, I believe that if their body's not changing with their training, it's because there's something going on in their life that is inhibiting that. So you're already having an issue inhibiting your body change. Saying I'm going to focus on weighing less is not going to help that factor. Like there's a different underlying cause that you're only going to make worse by perseverating on one factor. So it's not just like a PC statement. I truly believe worrying about weight is one of the least important factors of getting faster.
I agree. All right, I have one more.
Okay.
We had a little shorter episode for us today. I think one of the most overrated aspects to becoming faster is putting any stock in whatever Garmin is telling you. The race predictors, the training status, the workout suggestions it gives you. Garmin is way left of center across the board on what training is actually happening, what phase of training you're actually in, what it predicts your racing to be at. I think it's all way off. I think Strava is much more accurate. I think Garmin is very inaccurate.
I'm not even going to argue. I'm just going to say, yup.
Okay, because you have one you want to get to?
Also because I have nothing to add to that.
You agree 100%.
I was Garmin for 14 years? And I used their app only to see other people that I worked with who used Garmin.
And I don't like Garmin Connect. I don't like their app for social platform. None of it's good. Yeah, it's terrible. I still like my watch. My watch has served me well. But as far as what it spits out as a response to my training, no, Garmin, I'm not going to do 3 by 30-second sprints at 4-minute pace because today I need whatever you consider that anaerobic power and speed. Like, you're not correct.
Dumb AI is just not useful for training.
So just don't put any stock in what your Garmin's telling you is all I'm telling people.
All right. So my short one that I'm not looking for an argument about, because I'm just saying it to inflame the masses. I think the classic tempo run is the most useless part to getting faster. 4 miles at marathon pace, garbage.
Oh, please elaborate. I am interested to hear.
Useless. You want gray zone training? Tempo run is gray zone. I would rather run
tempo is a gray. That's a gray statement.
Yeah, I think that tempo run is one of the most misunderstood and misapplied terms ever. It is gray zone. People worry about junk mileage, like I'm running in between aerobic and anaerobic, or in between being fully aerobic and being at aerobic threshold. That's gray zone. It's not easy enough to be easy. It's not hard enough to be hard. Forget that. That's what a tempo run is. Is there a use for running some sustained, like 10 to 40-minute runs at a faster pace, yes. 4 miles at marathon pace is the worst bang for your buck of any quality work known to man.
What if it was 8?
That's real work.
So, okay, I get how you're tracking now. Okay. That's
4 to
really
6
not.
mile tempo with nothing else associated as a standalone day. You might as well go run gray zone for 2 hours.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that one.
Do I do them? Yes. Is it the least important facet of any training intensity? Also, yes.
So what if you were to, let's just say you were training for a marathon and you did a 4-mile tempo, but you did it at half pace? I don't know. Like you'll see like the Ed Eyestone crew will tempo mid or end of long run and it'll be faster than marathon pace.
Yep.
It's like always 4 miles.
Adding cut downs, doing it as a long run. Absolutely. The old Jack Daniels 2-mile warm up, 4 miles at marathon pace. That's not a standalone workout these
That's
days.
not moving the fitness needle for me whatsoever if I did sessions like that, to be honest.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
Nope. I'd rather take that time and fill it with reps, intervals, or run longer and slower.
But I do think drawing that out, let's say if marathon pace is your example, and I decide to go hold it for 10 as one of my test sessions,
Great.
I'm probably getting some pretty good work done that back third.
Yep.
Yeah. 2 bite-sized tempo runs at not aggressive enough pacing.
Yep. That classic, it's been on Let's Run for years. It's been in training books, 4 to 6 miles at marathon pace. I just have no use for. No use.
If you're dipping your toes in the waters, I think there's a use for it, but I think
it's baby training.
I guess that'd be a great way to describe.
That's as judgmental as I'm ever going to be. Like, if you're doing a 4-mile tempo, good for you.
If you're training,
if you're training for a PR, stop it. I'll never stop someone from running. Any run's a good run until you're training with purpose.
Well, okay, we really actually do need to go, but like, okay, at what race distance? Let's say a 4-mile tempo. Let's say you're training to run a mile. Does that become purposeful training? Huh?
In base training, yes, but I am following up with 200s.
Okay. I figured I'd catch you on something. All right.
Yeah. It's you. Like I said, I do them.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't be in my top 10 or 15 or 20.
All right. This has been fun. I'm blaming the short episode on you today because you had to start later than we talked about.
Good. Next week is going to be all positive. The most underrated parts of training that will make you better.
This one will probably be more fun.
This will be more fun. See ya.
Yeah.